What is up guys, it's your favourite Scotsman Ryan here, and today we are going to take a look at my very first 10 series gaming laptop. So long name aside, the MSI GT62VR 6RE Dominator Pro 4K is a 15-inch gaming laptop that is packed with awesome features like a 4K IPS panel and a GTX 1070, making it VR ready. Is it worth your hard earned cash though? Let's jump in and find out. So let's start off by taking a look at the design. We have a beautiful brushed aluminium lid with the MSI logo and badge dead centre, flanked by two red stripes, and when you go ahead and boot this up, of course it all lights up. Taking a closer look at the deck, that brushed aluminium continues, giving the laptop a super premium look and feel. Taking a look at the bottom however, MSI has opted for plastic, which is fine by me, but they have opted to go for red highlights on the grills, giving it a sporty look. So the laptop weighs around 6.4 pounds or 3 kilograms if you live in the UK, so just bear that in mind if you plan to carry this around in your backpack. Overall, I really dig the design. MSI has definitely went premium here, and I love that brushed aluminium look, although I will say it does seem to attract some fingerprints, but they wipe off pretty easily. So in terms of ports, on the left hand side you will find your audio connections for headphones, microphone, line in and line out, as well as a single USB 2.0 port and a Kensington lock. On the right we have three USB 3.0 ports and an SD card slot, and finally on the rear you will find a conveniently placed power jack, mini display port, HDMI, USB 3.1 Type C port and a killer Gigabit Ethernet port. I'm definitely digging these ports on the rear, as if you plan to lay it on a desk like I did and use it for VR or connect it to a large monitor, then cable management will be no issue at all, as everything can just run down behind your desk, and that's definitely a huge plus from me. Let me know your thoughts on these ports on the rear. So in terms of specs, this beast is running an i7 6820HK processor, 32GB of DDR4 RAM, a 15.6 inch IPS 4K display, a GTX 1070 with 8GB of GDDR5, a 1TB 7200 RPM hard drive, and also a 512GB SSD, which is NVMe, and this is priced at £2,299. If we take the 7 screws out of the bottom, it will open up easily, revealing all of the internals. The first thing that caught my eye was the awesome black copper cooling pipes. I know most people won't care about the colour like I do, but the setup is really nice with separate cooling for the CPU and GPU paired with two large fans. The RAM is easily upgradable up to 64GB if you wish, but 32GB in this case on a gaming laptop, in my opinion, is definitely more than enough. I mean, I have used gaming laptops with 16GB of RAM that I have no trouble with at all, so 32GB is plenty. But if you like to go overkill, then 64GB is no issue. Taking a closer look at the PCIe SSD, it is made by Toshiba and the read-write speeds are pretty impressive, but if this is not enough for you, you could easily upgrade it and throw one of Samsung's new offerings in here for higher speeds. The 7200 RPM drive speeds were also not too terrible at all, so overall I'm pretty pleased with the hard drive setup in this system. Okay, so when it comes to the keyboard, I was super impressed. Being a user of a mechanical keyboard, sometimes transitioning to a laptop was pretty frustrating, but SteelSeries have done an awesome job here. So this is mainly thanks to the 1.9mm of travel and 66 grams of actuation force needed, which allowed me to type super fast and game with ease. The RGB lighting can also be controlled via SteelSeries software or via MSI's built-in Dragon Center. You can set the colour of your LEDs for the whole keyboard, or you can choose to light up the three predetermined zones separately. As always, we have different effects etc. if that is your thing. Taking a look at the Synaptics touchpad, I was also pretty impressed with this, as I found it to be pretty accurate and pretty responsive, but I was definitely not a fan of the plastic buttons below, as they felt kinda cheap and honestly didn't really fit in with the overall premium build of this laptop, but I find that with most buttons on laptops these days, and if you're a gamer then you are going to opt to use an external mouse anyway. So above the keyboard of course is the 4K IPS matte display that of course supports G-Sync. This synchronises the refresh rate of the panel with the GPU to avoid the line shifts and minimises stutters. The panel looks great while playing games, and honestly running my favourite titles such as Overwatch at 4K was a great experience. Overall, browsing the web and gaming is an absolute pleasure on this panel and you will not be disappointed. Above the screen however is where you will find the webcam, and honestly this is the only area that didn't impress me at all. For a claimed 1080p camera, my shots seem grainy and unimpressive, so if you want to stream on this laptop then I would definitely recommend buying an external webcam, as this just won't cut it. So before we jump into the most important part of the review, I just wanted to let you know that the Dynaudio speakers on this laptop are actually pretty decent. There are two up front, and on the underside we have a little subwoofer for the low end, and overall they perform super well even at high volumes, and this definitely impressed me, as my laptop that I am currently running, the speakers are terrible, so it was definitely pretty pleasing when I fired up a YouTube video and listened to these speakers. Okay, so most importantly, how does it game? Well, I ran a few of my favourite games at 4K just to put this to the test and make good use of that IPS panel, and honestly I was pretty impressed. Okay, so first up, playing Overwatch on epic settings, which is the highest we can go, wielded some impressive results with the frame rate averaging around 65 FPS. Moving on to GTA 5, and we could achieve around 60 FPS with high settings and no MSAA. For the last game I went a little overboard with the demanding Doom title, which saw frame rates drop to around 40 FPS at high settings, so if you want to play demanding titles at 4K you will have to bump everything down or drop down to 1440p. Overall I was super impressed with the performance of this, considering it has a GTX 1070 inside, and most importantly it didn't burn my legs off either, as temps remained very low thanks to MSI's cooling layout and chassis design. The CPU and GPU maxed out at around 80 degrees, but saying that, the deck and underside of the laptop remained a very cool 30 degrees, so MSI have done a wonderful job here with the cooling, and honestly this is probably one of the coolest MSI laptops I have used to date, as my 9 series laptop gets very warm and uncomfortable when it is sitting on my lap, but if you like to do that you will have no trouble with this. Okay, so with all this power obviously it comes a sacrifice, and that is in the battery life department. With most gaming laptops you're never going to get anything special, but if you're going to web browse and just check emails etc, you will get around 3 hours of battery usage, but obviously if you're going to start gaming then you can easily cut that in half, so I definitely recommend carrying around the power brick if you plan on gaming. Okay, so if you were to ask me if I would purchase one of these for my own use, I would have to say definitely yes. I am currently running one of MSI's 9 series laptops, and the difference in performance is absolutely huge. There is really no competition here, and at the price tag I definitely feel it's justified. Let me know down below if this is the kind of laptop you would pick up, or let me know down below if there are any other MSI or other laptops that you would like me to go ahead and review. As always, if you have any questions, ask down below and I will definitely get back to you. Stay safe, be kind to each other, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace!